Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Absolute Football Podcast, Absolutely Non-League, the show dedicated to everything from the National League North, National League South, and, of course, this week, the FA Cup. I mean, some of us on here have had a lovely, lovely quiet week where we're feeling great. We can just be neutral and talk football. Some of us haven't had the best week with the football results. But yes, we are going to talk football. And as always, we are in collaboration with NL Fulltime. I do want to apologise as well to anybody for last week. Obviously, a last minute thing did come up, so we didn't do the non-league podcast. So I do apologise for that. But thank you, everyone, for understanding. Do really appreciate it. Ben, football aside, we'll take football out of it. Not a part of it right now. How are you?
I'm okay, yeah. Taking away, it's hard not to be emotional when it's not football, but yeah, no, I'm all right. You know, going about life as usual. You know, nothing really's changed. Life goes on. How are you, Shah?
I'm good, and I just wanted to tell everybody in the chat. I know we spoke about it off air, but Rochdale are back. We have got a pitch inspection tomorrow, everyone.
We've never been more back.
It's November, and already we're having another pitch inspection. But I'm going to say I'm very, very proud at the moment because I'm actually having it at 10 o'clock in the morning, where Christians fell victim to it last season. How many times was it? Third time lucky, wasn't it, getting our fixture on last season? And obviously Southend this season. I know there are a lot of angry Southend fans, but yeah, we're back. It's not good, is it? It's not good, but we'll change that subject. We will address that tomorrow when we know a little bit more. But Morgan, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm relatively positive at the moment. Saturday was quite fun. We lost, but it was a fun day out, so I'm feeling quite positive.
Oh, I love that. Love that. Jen, how are you? I mean, it's nice, isn't it, not to have to stress about football for the weekend?
I know, it's great. I've had no sport to ruin my weekend this weekend. It's been great. Loved every second of it. But no, it's been good. Back at the football tomorrow away at Hartlepool, so we'll see how these 9 days off have gone. And I know there's a few of them that have come down with the man flu that's going around, so we'll see what happens tomorrow.
I'm representing NL Fulltime. Christian, how are you? I mean, nice chilled one for you as well, wasn't it, football-wise?
Yeah, nice and easy. I've saved myself for Monday night again. Didn't make it yesterday. I know Joe did a really good job, but I'm sure he'll be watching. But yeah, we're back. We're back on Wednesday night. So I know that Graham will be very much hoping that Rochdale game's on because I can hear him complaining already. You're at home and you've got the day's extra rest. So yeah, I'll get that one in early from a Boston point of view as well. But good to be back and great to enjoy the FA Cup from a distance as usual with Boston.
I know. Honestly, it's getting to a point like that with Dale, but yeah, pitch inspection. And do you know what I was thinking? It's like the perfect time to play them at the moment because we've obviously had a rest. They've been in the FA Cup, but obviously it doesn't work out when you're in Rochdale and your pitch is a shambles. I mean, we got covers, pitch covers, but for some reason they don't work that well. I think they got them from Poundland or something, to be honest. I'm joking. Be better quality in Poundland.
Yeah.
We've got a very happy Luke in the chat. He's put, I'll read everyone. One ball's been chucked in the tyne and we march on to round 2 against Walsall. And my local won 8-0. What a weekend for himself. Oh, I love that. If Carlsberg did weekends, Luke, that would be perfect for you. We've got Green Acres in the chat as well. Gave Luton a good game on Friday evening. Pity we didn't turn on the battering ram until the second half. Might have been in the draw for round 2 if we had deployed it earlier. Very, very entertaining game, that one. I really did enjoy that on Friday night. I mean, when people say, and I do love Premier League football as well, but when people say about the quality in Premier League, but then you get the FA Cup and the magic of the game of the FA Cup, I really do feel like the teams really did make a really good account for themselves, each and every one, even if they did lose as well. They really did try and make a really good account for themselves. We have Chris as well. Good evening, all. Evening, Chris. We have Steve. I think in a very happy Steve as well. Lucas put, last time for me watching a National League podcast as a 19-year-old until I turn 20 next Monday. I get to sing happy birthday to you then, Luke. I thought he was saying basically that he doesn't want to watch us anymore until I read the end. Luke, surely I'm not that bad. But yes, the dreaded pitch inspection for Rochdale. Yes. Do you know what? I was expecting it, but I didn't think it'd be as early. Then again, Southend was September. So not a great start, is it? when your season starts in August.
Oh, dear.
We've got Sean. Oh, Sean. The only good thing is with you, though, Sean, we are concentrating tonight. We do have all the FA Cup fixtures, but we are concentrating mostly on the non-league ones tonight. So you don't have to talk Northampton now until Thursday. But at least that's a positive for you. At least that's a positive. Say, be nice. Evening, everyone. Hi, Graham. Hope you're okay. We've got Aled as well. Evening, Aled. Hope you are okay. We've got 20 Luke. Blimey, I've had dinner sold of you. Oh, he's only a young one, isn't he, Luke? He's a young one. And Steve has put Altrincham didn't make a good account of themselves. Woeful team. Right. Anybody who does support, if you are new, if you do support a non-league side, if you have been to a game, if you want to send in your match reports, please do. We are going to cover first the National League South, National League North games from the weekend, and then we will get straight into the FA Cup action. So, Ben, do you want to start us off? Get it out of the way. You can start off now, then it's out of the way, and then you've got the whole show to be happy.
That's a very good point. That one.
You don't have to talk about him.
No, I have to, because otherwise, you got to accept the bad with the good, haven't you?
True.
That one hurt a little bit on Saturday. I got to be honest. Nearly as much as the player final, actually, to be honest. I think just because of how Tunbridge have milks it, and don't get me wrong, I don't blame them a little bit. They've waited 11 years to beat us in the league. And to be honest, as George said after the game, we let our standards drop, and you let your standards drop, you're going to let teams, you're just going to get punished by them. Tunbridge have been revived. See, Alan Dunn's gone in there. He's got them very well organised. Maybe not lacking on so much quality, but at the back, they seem to be very hard to beat. They went ahead after about 60-odd minutes or so. Eddie Simon put them in front, a game really with very few chances. And, you just think to yourself, it's going to be one of those days. And had the game ended 1-0, I probably would have taken it on the chin, to be honest. Steve, I thought you were my favourite. Not anymore. And we've pushed for an equaliser. It's sort of, we got it 90th minute. Papadopoulos, brilliant cross to Hamza Kargbo, got his first goal for the club. Pleased for him. First game back from three-game ban. So, and then you think that we'll take a point. And to be fair, after that, there was only one team that was going to go and win the game. That was us. We put them under a lot of pressure after that. But then, and Papadopoulos, by the way, who's been absolutely fantastic for us since he's come back from Crawley on loan. He's been a massive influence in our resurgence in the last month, but he's the reason that he's cost us a point. Took far too many touches in the midfield, lost the ball, and then Extone loanee and Sean Shields, who's only just come back from, I think, a 6-month injury, splashed it top bins. And then, but to be fair, I haven't seen limbs like that in a way in for quite some time, and it hurt a little bit. You've got all the Tunbridge bench running across, you got all their fans running all over the place, and it's their moment. They've waited so long to beat us, and it's the first time they've beaten us at the Gallagher in a league game. So it didn't sit well. I mean, when you've got things like their fans saying it's one of the best days they've had supporting the club, and their manager saying it's one of the best moments he's had in football, you just think it was that sort of day, really. And And for me, I'm more disappointed the fact that the emotion of the players didn't seem to sink in for me.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen a bit of emotion. I mean, George Fowler, he walked down the tunnel, he's smashing the tunnel, cursing and everything. And, I hope for them on Saturday that stung for them, to be honest, because it stung for us as supporters. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, we've got, plenty of rivals and that we come up against, and Tunbridge is one that's always been in and around there. I don't see them as the big rivals, to be honest. Some of their fans might call me bitter for saying that, but we focus on the likes of, your Ebbsfleets, your Dartfords and everything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just hurt. And I just felt like that really stung for us that night. And the thing is, though, it's already a bad omen because we've got to go to Stonebridge Road tomorrow to play Ebbsfleet, second Kent Derby in 3 days. And, when you've lost a game in the last minute in the Kent Derby at home, but, it's going to knock the confidence out of them. If they go and win tomorrow, then Saturday's forgotten about. That's the thing for me.
Yeah.
But if they lose tomorrow, then all of a sudden we're the worst team in the league again, for our fans. And, they've been, they've been brilliant, the players, the last month, but they've been brought back down to earth and they've been humbled, to be honest, and rightly so. And look, it's nothing taken away from Tunbridge. I thought they were the better side. They deserved to win the game, in my opinion. But yeah, unfortunately, it just wasn't our day. So we've got to go again. But hopefully we go to Longmead and we'll put it right. That's the thing, because I don't want them to celebrate like that again against us. That was probably one of my worst moments in a fair few years of watching Maidstone, to be fair. And I'm not afraid to say that. So fair play to Tunbridge, but we have to go again tomorrow.
Steve's but at least you play your rivals, Ben. 32 years in counting since we played Wickham in the league.
I'd rather wait another 30 years to play Tunbridge again, to be honest.
I was waiting for that. Are you looking forward to tomorrow?
Sorry, shall I carry on?
Oh no, I just said to Ben, are you looking forward to tomorrow, Ben? Or are you a bit nervous?
I'm nervous now. If we'd won on Saturday, I wouldn't have felt nervous. But now, because I'm more worried about if they do beat us Ebbsfleet, then the pressure will be on management again. After it's been a great month, if you lose two Kent derbies on the spin. By the way, our record in Kent derbies in recent years has been brilliant. But if you're going to lose two in a row, and it's based on 3 days as well, that's really going to knock a lot of confidence out of those players. They need to find something. Even if we get a good draw tomorrow, I think if we go and get a 1-1, some of that, I'd be quite happy with that, to be honest. But just hoping Ebbsfleet, hopefully Saturday for them in the FA Cup, which we'll talk about. Hopefully it's taken a little bit out of them, but I don't think so. I think they're going to be well up for the game, and they'll be seeing us as a little bit wounded. So, I'm not looking forward to it, I'm going to be honest.
What was you going to say? Sorry, Morgan.
I was going to say it must be weird having derbies because you've got Dartford, you've got Ebbsfleet, you've got Tonbridge. It must be weird having so many Kent teams that are always in National League South, even the 7th tier. Like, it must be weird having those games. You look at the calendar when it comes out and you see, all right, we've got these derbies on these days, and obviously it's Fulham where you got 2 in 3 days. So it must be weird having them always fall.
It's weird how it's fallen in place. I mean, obviously we haven't got Dartford because obviously they got relegated a couple of years ago, but the fixtures, that's the thing. I found it so strange because, obviously we got Dover on Boxing Day, and obviously they're a side that we've got developed a bit of a rivalry with now over the years. It never used to be like that. But then over the New Year period, we're going to Essex twice, which doesn't make sense in my opinion. I think we should be having the reverse fixture against Tunbridge or Ebbsfleet coming to us. It's really weird how it's fallen into place because obviously we're going there on Tuesday. I'm guessing because it's one of our more local games, they thought it'd be easier to do that rather than make us travel down to Torquay or something. So
they used the fixtures as well.
Yeah,
the Boxing Day and the Tuesday become Easter.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's very difficult, especially if you have like an odd number of Kent teams. But to be fair, we've got about 4 Kent teams, so you'd like to think it should work, but it's hard to fit them around this league. But that's the thing. If Dartford came back up, then we'd have a really, really competitive National South with just Kent teams, and you don't want to be on the losing end of it. That's for sure. But if the players, that's the thing. They've realised now what it means to the supporters. I'd like to think so, because if they didn't learn that on Saturday, then they won't learn it tomorrow. Because I don't want to go to Ebbsfleet and lose again. That's the thing, because otherwise a lot of supporters will start turning on the players and the management again. I'm confident that will happen. So they've got to find a bit of character from somewhere, which I know they've got it, and just hopefully it was just an off day, because at home we have struggled at home this season, but we've been fantastic away from home. So hopefully the away support tomorrow might help them out, but we'll see.
Just really quickly before we move on, this is for you, Jen, from Sean.
I mean, That would be nice, personally, but I don't think that's going to happen this year unless Ash does some sort of miracle.
You never know.
That's it. You never know in National League. Anything can happen.
Anything. Just going to really quickly swap me and you around, Christian, because I should be bottom now. Yes. National League South results. I will come to you first, Christian. Any on here that stand out to you?
I think we have to give Horsham a lot of credit. They've won again. We could be harsh and say they're winning against teams down the bottom end of the table, but they're all wins. That's 4 in a row now, up to third, albeit a couple of teams below them have games in hand. And I think I saw the manager got the Manager of the Month award yesterday as well. So really positive week for them. Hopefully the curse doesn't strike. And yeah, really impressive to see a team that have been promoted and haven't been at this level before doing so well. Won 7 and lost just 4.
I know you've spoken about them quite a lot, haven't you, Ben Horsham? And wasn't they one of them your surprise packages this season, Horsham?
Can I just firstly say that George was robbed of Manager of the Month because he was top of the form table. Like, he won 4 of the 5 games. The other one being a draw, and he didn't win it. But fair play to Dom Tapala. I could sit here all day and keep going. I told you so and everything like that. But I had the confidence in Horsham they would be fine, at least for the first season at this level. Because when I've always found that the teams that come up from the level below actually, continue that momentum. I don't know what it is, because Aveley had that when they came up a few years ago, and then they finished in the playoffs. No one expected them to finish in the playoffs. Everyone had them to finish rock bottom. But they've got a huge amount of credit. They've got a lot of experience in that team. They're playing with no fear. Their fans, are just enjoying the ride at the moment, and absolute fair play to them because they're punching well above their weight. They're beating some big teams, and going on the road to Bath City, which is Twerton Park's always been a tough venue in that they make it very hard to break them down. But and also that's the Bath have been a tight team the last couple of years that haven't really conceded a lot of goals. So to go 2-0 is probably the best outcome they could have hoped for. And I think they're up to 4th now in the table, which is quite remarkable. But then again, it doesn't surprise me too much, just because with the club and the togetherness they've got and the manager. I'm a big fan of Dom Tapala. What he's done there, he's been absolutely brilliant for them. In the last decade, taking them from county league football to the home playoffs of the National League South. It's quite incredible. But it's still a long way to go. But I think if you're a Horsham fan, just keep enjoying the ride while you can, because it's absolutely fantastic what they're doing at the moment.
Morgan, any on here you want to mention?
With Lee not being here, I think Worthing deserves a bit of a shout out.
Yes.
Because since Hinchelwood's gone back 4 wins in a row in the league, I know their first game was that Forest Green game in the Cup, and a bit of a baptism of fire going back to one of the best teams in the National League. But since then, 4 wins in a row, and they are up to 7th now, back into the playoffs, back where we thought they might be by the end of the season after a slow start. And it's all kind of worked out, because I don't think Chris Agata going to Sutton has hurt them too much. He seems to be doing okay there. Obviously, they've just won in the FA Cup. Hinch has gone back there and he's got them firing straight away. So they're back in the playoffs, and they might be one of those promotion teams that we're speaking about after 40, 45 games again.
Do you not reckon as well, every time Lee's not on the pod, Worthing win?
Maybe just need to stay off.
I don't think he's managed to speak many times about a Worthing win, bless him. Jen, is there any on here you want to give a mention to?
It's got to be Dorking. They're obviously struggling a little bit, but they seem to be bouncing back now. 3 wins on the bounce. They're getting back in the playoffs. They're getting where they should be, personally. So a shout out to Dorking, because they seem to be pushing in the right direction now.
And Hornchurch beating Torquay. I know Joel's not here today, but beating Torquay away from home 2-1. I mean, a very good win for them. Obviously, they are top of the table, but very disappointing for Torquay, isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, Paul Woodson is under immense pressure at the moment down there. A lot of their fans are calling for his head now, because they've dropped to, I think, 8th in the table. And when you do look at the odds at the start of the season, I think everyone would have had them to win the title, to be fair. I think I possibly had them down to win the league. I did. So I'm really surprised about what's going on down there. And again, I think it's their first home defeat of the season. But look, you've got to give Hornchurch all the credit. I think this is 14th game, and they're still unbeaten. Which I can't remember the last time a team did that at this stage in this league. Like it's remarkable what Darren McMahon's done. Look, they have an incredible squad. I had them down for playoff places. I still think it might be playoffs for them potentially, but again, I can't see anyone stopping them. Western, again, it's if the cup distraction gets in the way, especially now with a winnable tie against Chelmsford on the horizon for them. That's the thing. Will their form drop in the league a little bit? But for Hornchurch, they're probably loving it. The fact that the cup of the size that are meant to be going for the title are still involved in the FA Cup because they can just purely focus on it. And I think that's an incredible journey back for those Hornchurch supporters who, again, must be, living life to the fullest at the moment, being top of the, this division. It's got some huge clubs in that, spend a lot of money, and they're doing brilliantly at the moment. And Darryl McMahon knows he's got out of this league before with Ebbsfleet, so it's not a surprise to see where they are. But massive win on the road for them. Torquay have got to find something because otherwise Paul Wootton could be in a bit of trouble at the moment because that pressure might get a little bit too much for him.
As well, Ben, just finishing off in the National League South, the other results we haven't mentioned, any standouts are pretty much predictable.
Eastbourne winning at Enfield's a good away win for them. For Tommy Widrington, he's been a bit up and down since he started. Obviously got a good win, I think, at Maidenhead, and obviously they lost to us, got battered, to be honest. But then they've sort of bounced back, and Enfield's not an easy place to go. Like you never know what you're going to get with Enfield, because one time they'll turn up and absolutely roll everyone over. But there will be times I think they struggle, to be honest, against the sides near the bottom. I think they've been sometimes better against some of the top sides, being able to compete. I guess it's a bit like us, it's like the way you set up against the top sides. But Eastbourne, like I said, they've been needing that a little bit. Look, they are starting to click a little bit now under Widrington. They have lost a couple of players in the last week or so. But I think they just know now that they need a bit of extra quality to stay in this league, because that's got to be their ultimate aim now at the moment, is stay in the league, which I don't think any of us would have been saying in pre-season. I thought they would have probably been looking at mid-table. I think they let their best opportunity of promotion go last year, but now they've just got to find a way of just getting points on the board now, and that win against the side that'll be near the bottom with them, they've got the hope that that will give them a bit of a boost and hopefully a bit of a psychological edge as well as they go into the coming weeks.
Definitely. Anybody else got anything to add on National League South before we do move on? No? Right, so the table. So top of the table, we do have Hornchurch on 34 points. Then we have Weston-super-Mare. They are second on 29 points. Horsham are third on 25 points. AFC Totton are fourth on 25 points. Hemel Hempstead, we will talk about them in the cup after, because what an account they have made for themselves. Hemel Hempstead, they are fifth on 25 points. Dorking Wanderers are sixth on 25 points. And Worthing are seventh on 24 points. Then, unfortunately, in the relegation zone, 21st, we have Slough Town on 12 points. Eastbourne Borough are 22nd on 11 points. Salisbury are 23rd on 11 points. And Chippenham Town, they are bottom of the National League South on 6 points.
We saw us because we've got to play Chippenham on Saturday. What's the betting that we're going to lose to them? We haven't won on the road yet, I don't think, either. So we're in trouble.
Oh, no. Will we not see you on Monday then, Ben? Are you booking it off now?
Yeah, he's not coming.
That's it. After today, you're done. I'm retired.
Steve said, still going to win the league, Slough. Still going to win it. You never know. Especially with National League South. But National League North. Christine, I'll come to you first on this one. Any on here you want to speak about?
There's a few that tempted me. There's definitely a few stories to get stuck into, but I think, given Paul Bastock is a friend of mine, I think I've got to talk quite believably about the 0-0 on there. Southport 0, Kings Lynn 0, because it obviously comes with the news that Paul and Ian Culverhouse as manager have gone back to Kings Lynn. I know St Albans weren't happy with the way that was conducted, and to be honest, I haven't had the chance to have a good chat with Paul about that, but we know the way things work in football. Ultimately, from what's been made public, Kings Lynn put an approach in. St Albans hoped it was going to be done after the FA Cup. That wasn't the case, and Ian and Paul made the trip back to Kings Lynn in his case for the third time as well. So really interesting. I think the Kings Lynn fans have taken well to the news. Ian Culverhouse won 2 promotions when he was there last time, the Southern League and then the National League North as well. And it just maybe stops the rot a little bit for them. I think maybe disappointing a draw away at Southport given they're now bottom, but it does stop the rot a little bit. They've got the chance to try and turn it around now. But yeah, all changed down at the Walks, and it sees Ian and Paul reunite with Joe Simpson as well, who was part of the trio, and then went his own way by going to Kings Lynn in the summer. So again, it's football, isn't it? That's how things go sometimes. You leave people and then they come back to you. But yeah, exciting times for Paul. I know he's looking forward to it. And yeah, I was pleased for him that they at least didn't go to Southport and get beat, given where Southport are in the table. And I maybe tease someone else up in saying that they are now bottom and a few of the teams above them all picked up results.
This comment really made me laugh as well from Luke. He's put Southport with a 0-0 and someone is actually talking about it. I must be dreaming. It's an early birthday present for you, Luke. Because we never really talk about 0-0s as far you do it, Luke. So that is an early birthday present for you.
Those November birthdays, we've got to stick together.
Yeah,
you have. This one as well, I just wanted to address this because Chris has mentioned it, and this was the one I wanted to mention. So Curzon were winning 3-0 away to Hereford, only to draw 3-3 in the end. So they were actually 3-0 up, Curzon Ashton, within 29 minutes. And then
sounds like
Amari, I know, Amari Amari Sterling James did get a second half hat trick. He got his first goal in the 54th minute, then 90 plus 2, his second goal, and then the equaliser, his final goal for his hat trick in 90 plus 4. So brilliant from a Hereford point of view, obviously getting it back considering they were 3-0 down. But Curzon Ashton, I mean, they must be absolutely fuming with themselves. Absolutely cruising. What a mental game, Bob. What a mental game. So that was mine.
2 points dropped for them as well, to be honest, in the context of things. It could have lifted them up to 5th as well. And you can't drop silly points like that, even away from home, not somewhere like Hereford. If you're 3-0 up, you shouldn't need to hold on for the last 35 minutes. You should have the game in the bag. You might concede 1, possibly 2, not 3. And it must be the Amari Sterling James and Regan Lilly show this week. They're both hitting second up, both hitting hat tricks at at key times in last minute. So no, fair play to Sterling James. I know he's a very experienced player, playing National League level, and part of the Kinderlister side. Been close on a couple of occasions to promotion, but that's still showing that he's got more than enough quality in that to still be competing with the top guys in National North.
Definitely. I'm just going to really quickly read out this match report from Matt. So he has put that he was at the Marine AFC Fylde game. So it was Marine 0, AFC Fylde 1. I was at the Marine Fylde game. Great performance by Marine in the first half, but just couldn't get the goal. A howler from the Marine keeper early in the second half let Fylde in for the winner. I did see that. It was obviously so frustrating because Marine, like you said, they seemed to play well, just couldn't score. And Fylde have obviously utilised on that now because they have gone top. As Chris said, Charlie and Scarborough losing, Fylde did take the advantage and they are now top of National League North. But Jen, I'm going to come to you. Anyone here that stand out for you? You can save ones that have been mentioned if you want to.
I was going to say Peterborough Sports and Chorley. That was a big game, especially for Peterborough. They are now out of the relegation zone. And against a team that is fighting at the top of the playoffs in Chorley, it's incredible for Peterborough to get a result against them and push themselves out of the relegation zone and get a couple of good results, and they could be well up in the table.
Am I right in saying Phil Brown went to Peterborough Sports? I've not dreamt it ever. Yeah. I was like, that would be a weird dream if I dreamt it. Who knows with all this football that we all talk about?
It'll be funny.
dream.
I'll be finding you a therapist, Shara. If you're dreaming about Phil Brown and Peterborough Sports, I'll be finding you a therapist.
I know. You never know. You never know. This is what it's come to, Morgan. I live a really great life.
Rochdale, 1 week off and you start dreaming about Phil Brown.
Oh, wow. I'm just glad it was right and it wasn't all just a dream.
I need to see what your summers are like then when there's no football at all.
I know. You don't want to know some of my dreams then, because even I don't want to know. It's probably more nightmares in that case. Morgan, I will come to you next. Anyone here you want to give a mention to?
Yeah, I want to speak about the Scarborough game, but that Hereford one, do you think anyone left early when Hereford were 3-1 down? Do you leave at the 90th
Definitely.
minute?
Definitely.
But no, Scarborough, I'm just going to enjoy that a little bit because there is a bit of a rivalry between York and Scarborough, and with how well they've been doing, for Fyle to win, and obviously some of the other teams in around the playoffs, being in the FA Cup and stuff, for them to lose, it's just always nice when it's always nice when you look up at the results and see that your rivals in the league below have also lost. Like, we've had one of the best days out in 15 years as a club. Yeah, we lost, but it was a great day out, and then you get a little bit of silver lining seeing that your rivals lost to a team that I don't think we've ever played Worksop in the league. So they're losing teams that we've never played, and we're going to Barnsley and having like half the crowd. So I'm quite happy with that.
It's a fourth defeat in the row.
I think so. Scarborough struggling. Yeah, fourth defeat in a row.
Yeah.
Maybe a really rocky patch. I don't know where that's come from. I mean, maybe the honeymoon period at the start of the season now sort of caught up with them because they were right on South Shield's tails for so long. Now they're like, I think, 9 points off the top now. So, yeah, I think
we were bigging them up.
Yeah. I mean, there was always
my relegation candidates.
Oh, it weren't Easter door. I'm so sorry. I've just got an update. Everyone in the chat, FPL, my family head-to-head league. Currently, my 12-year-old cousin, I did tell the team off air, my 12-year-old cousin is beating me. I need Isidore, Grealish, or Pickford to do something. I just cheered because Sunderland have scored, but it was Granit Xhaka. Wasn't Isidore.
So there goes your clean sheet.
Yeah.
I know. I'm hoping he might have assisted, though. I've not got that far yet. So I do apologise if I do end up cheering on by the way, everyone, it's just getting really, really tense in this family head-to-head league. Ben, I will come to you now. Anyone here you do want to give a mention to?
I would have said Worksop, but I think we've just done a comment there, actually. And to be fair, like Bedford Town, where they sort of come out of massive resurgence because they were near the bottom at one point, and now all of a sudden they're in the top half. So, like, and to be honest, it's good for them, even though they've lost Nathan Ashmore, because obviously he's had to be recalled back by Boreham Wood. I think that would have been a big loss to them, because especially as he's just won National North Player of the Month as well. But for them to still continue the form they're in is a massive credit, because when you lose key players like that, it's easy for form to dip, and especially with someone like Ashmore's experience, and quality in between the sticks, it's it can hit him quite hard. But they've gone and got a hard-fought 2-1 win against Oxford City, who are really struggling at the moment. Down the bottom really with Southport. But yeah, I think now they're just talking 3-4 points off now of the playoffs, and that just shows how open this league is and how important it's even just getting 2, maybe 3 wins on the spin. And all of a sudden, you're looking at the right end of the table. It's really weird how it all works now, isn't it? But no, you got to give them mega man credit. I thought, even though I had them at my bottom 4 to start, but I think I hadn't taken a lot into consideration about the strike force they've got. And obviously, we've talked about Jeffers and Marsh, in the past. Look, they know there's plenty of goals in that side, even at the 6th tier. So it's a massive win for them on the road there. And Oxford City got a bit of soul searching to do at the moment, because they're heading one way at the moment, and I don't think their fans want to head down to the 7th tier, because they haven't been down there for quite some time.
Really, really struggling, aren't they? Just on as well, I will read Simon's comment. And please, please, please don't worry. If we do not mention your team, we will come back to them as well. It's just that we do have quite a lot to cover, but we do always try and mention as many as possible. But he has put, no one talking about Bedford. 5 wins in 6 games. The other, a draw away at Radcliffe. First season in this division 2 years ago in Southern League, Midland won. Now 4 points off the playoffs. Yeah, they're doing absolutely fantastic. And as I said, please, please, please do not worry. We will talk about the team if we haven't yet. One team as well that has been mentioned in the chat, but nobody spoke about here. Merthyr Town 3, Darlington 1. Very, very good win for Merthyr Town yet again, isn't it?
They're so hot and cold, Merthyr. They've won half their games, but one draw, goal difference level just outside the playoffs. They're going to need some consistency if they want the playoffs, but I don't think that was the ambition at the start of the season. So again, enjoy the ride. I think there's always space for 2 or 3. Is it harsh to call them unfashionable? I think people that have watched a lot of National League North football will know what I mean by that. I don't mean it as a negative. I just think it describes teams like Peterborough Sports that have been up there in the past. Kettering had a year going at the playoffs, and this year we've got Radcliffe. We might see Bedford. We might see Merthyr. Teams that no one wants to go to, and that's the biggest credit you can give them, really.
The promoted teams. The promoted teams, I think, have been brilliant. To be fair, and in fact, they've all adapted to the level very quickly because it's all your regulars that are near the bottom. I mean, again, obviously they didn't play this weekend, but look at Chester; they're really struggling at the moment. I know they've got a couple of games in hand, but a couple of points off the relegation zone is certainly where their fans probably didn't expect to be, given play a final last season, and it's just not going their way. But I always say, like we were saying about Horseshoe in National South, it's all about momentum. If you get promoted from the 7th tier into this level, a lot of teams tend to do better than what people might make out to be. Because no one's really got the expectations of the likes of Worksop and probably Bedford, but they're starting to find a bit of rhythm now. And like Chrissy said, I think if they had a little bit of consistency, then they could be looking at top 7. But I think Macclesfield would probably be the better one to pick out of all those to have a good go for it. But Merthyr, like I say, if they can just get a good 3 or 4 wins, the odd draw, maybe the odd defeat, then they might be in that top 7. But like I say, it's still too early to tell. We're only a third of the way the season through at the moment.
And Worksop are picking their scouts up as well. It's of those promoted teams. I think their last 3 wins now. Obviously, the win on Saturday, they beat Fylde, they beat Chester. They just need to beat the teams that are in and around them at the moment. So it goes to show, I think the gap from the top of step 3 into step 2 is pretty small. I think at step 3 there's a good mix, but given that promotion pack is so tight in there every year, Telford have come up and done well, and we haven't mentioned them yet. They're obviously in the cup this weekend, and they meet Merthyr tomorrow night. But yeah, I think credit where credit's due. The Trident leagues at step 3 are very, very strong at that top end. And I think looking at those leagues, I know they're not on our remit today, but I think if you have a look at some of the teams that we expect to come up again, particularly into the north, I think we could have the same conversation this time next year.
Definitely. There's just one more I think we haven't covered on here, isn't there? Obviously, Alfreton Town won, Kidderminster Harriers won. It was a draw for those. But yeah, that's all of them. Chris has mentioned a big game on Wednesday in the north. AFC Fylde versus South Shields. Very, very big game. Very, very big game. And Chris has mentioned, don't mention Telford around me. I get the shivers. Bless him. So, the National League North table. So, top of the table, we do have AFC Fylde on 35 points. South Shields, they are second on 32 points. Radcliffe, they are third on 28 points. We have Scarborough, who are fourth on 26 points. Kidderminster are fifth on 24 points. Sixth, we have Buxton on 23 points. Curzon Ashton are seventh on 23 points. And then in the relegation zone, we have Leamington, who are 21st on 13 points. Alfreton, 22nd on 11 points. Oxford City, they are 23rd on 9 points. And Southport, they are bottom of the National League North table on 9 points.
Wouldn't be happening if Jim Bentley was there.
I know. That's right. Jim Bentley would be up that table in them playoffs. Tell you now.
Well, the league, they would.
Yeah.
Leighton Orient are beating Tamworth 1-0. Right, so FA Cup. If anybody in the chat has been to an FA Cup game, if you do support a non-league team, please send in your match reports. Anybody who does support an EFL team, you can send in your match reports if you like, but we will concentrate more on the EFL teams on Thursday in the lower league show. But yeah, you're more than welcome to if you like. But we will start with Christian. I'll come to you first. Anyone here you want to speak about from the FA Cup on the first slide?
Well, it was a good game at Oakwell, wasn't it? But
Yes.
I think I'll quite rightly keep out of the way of that one for someone that was there. I think credit Buxton, actually, and a hell of a goal if anyone's missed it so far that won that game in added time. Buxton, and I think there were 7 in total, all non-league ties. So they had a real opportunity, the winner of that. I'm sure Chatham will be a little bit disappointed to get this far and only get to play at Buxton instead of one of the big boys from League One. But when you're in a non-league tie, you've got to approach it the right way. Buxton made home advantage count in the end. And as much as they're not one of the teams that are all non-league in the next round, 2 of those ties are again, which I think as a bigger picture thing is really good news for non-league. There was a season either last year or the year before, there weren't any non-league teams in round 3. Clearly, we're going to be guaranteed at least 2 this year. I know we'll come to Slough and Macclesfield, but that's really exciting. And then there's a National League South, all National League South game on there as well. But yeah, credit Buxton. I thought they did very, very well. A lot of home wins on that initial list actually as well.
Yeah, when I was doing the graphics, I was double checking and thinking, have I done them all right? Because there seems to be a lot of green on this side, but I doubted myself. Ben, anyone here you want to give a mention to?
I mean, to be honest, this is not really much of a surprise to me because Boreham Wood 3, Crawley Town 0 is probably the scoreline I expected, really. I think I could have put money on that was going to be it. And again, another goal from Matt Rush. Again, I think I've just seen that he's the second top goal scorer in the top 5 divisions at the moment. He only got 1 more goal than your Manny D, Shah. So, he's hitting some right form. He is, that boy. And I knew he would.
We've played games, Ben. Manny D's played less games.
That's fair. I mean, it seemed to be Manny D always scored. Every time I check the Rochdale score, he's always scoring. So,
when we play.
But I think as well, I mean, like I said, I know they didn't win the game, but Forest Green Rovers, what an effort they put in against Luton Town to come back from 3-0 down, and score 3 goals. They probably deserve to, I was about to say deserve the replay. They took it away, didn't they? Why would they do that?
Yes.
And then they even at 4-3 though, obviously they missed a great chance right at the end to level the scoreline. You can only see Robbie Savage's face. I think that was every neutral fan, ready to jump off their seat, thinking that it would go to extra time, but wasn't to be for Forest Green. But you've got to give a massive amount of credit. It's a side 2 divisions above them. They certainly gave for good account of themselves and also done the National League very proud as well. So yeah, that'd be my one.
Definitely. Morgan, anyone here you want to give a mention to?
Do I talk about the York Barnsley game now, or do you want me to talk about another game?
Go on, talk about another one, and then I'll let you talk York.
Okay. Chelmsford Braintree. I was watching that where I could on the coach down to Barnsley on my phone, and Chelmsford just looked really good. Braintree looked like a team that's struggling at the bottom end of the National League, and Chelmsford looked really, really good. The red card in that game for Braintree in the second half has to be one of the stupidest red cards I've seen, where you fall 1 down and you just completely lose your head, and he just swung a leg at the guy, completely missed him, but the ref had really no choice, and Chelmsford looked great. Akinde got his first goal of the season for Braintree, but when we're at the start of November and their main striker, a man with the experience of Akinde, his first goal of the season is a penalty against a team in the league below in the cup, it's not good for Braintree. Last year they had Matt Robinson, they had the Lisby twins. They had a plan of how they'd turn up teams. They had long throws they could use, and they could hit teams on the counter. This year they didn't seem to have a game plan at all. On Saturday lunchtime they looked awful. And you do start to worry about Braintree. They had the money issues last year where they had to let some players go and say we massively overspent and all this. So Braintree are in a lot of trouble, and it's not, when you look at the cup and it's like, it's an Essex derby, it's lunchtime kickoff, we can try and get some momentum going, and you get battered that easily with a red card. They're in a lot of trouble this year.
Just really quickly as well, Green Acres has put in the chat, saw a documentary about Chelmsford yesterday. They are full time. What I will do, I'll quickly go to you, Jen, to tell me your standout on here, and then we'll go back to you, Morgan, and everybody in the chat. Do not worry, I have starred your match reports, so I will read them out. So, Jen, anyone here that stand out for you?
It's got a big Gateshead and Wimbledon for me. Absolute belter of a game for Gateshead. I know Luke will probably put his match report in, but what an experience that would have been to beat Wimbledon, especially for Gateshead. So, yeah, I think that's got to be the standout for me on this slide.
Luke has posted his match report. I will read it. He has put Wimbledon away, superb and surreal win. Never seen Gateshead win against EFL opposition before, and what a way to do it against the former FA Cup winners. Cannot believe it's real. And then just really, really quickly, Chris has put, don't think anyone expected Gateshead beating Wimbledon away. What a result. And then we have as well, he has put again 2-0 against Wimbledon. This is just whoa. Is this even real? I mean, the birthday presents are just coming in quick and fast for you, Luke. But yeah, absolutely smashed it. And Graham has mentioned, pleased for Luke, but gutted for Charlton legend Johnny Jackson. I know we always mention on the EFL put how much we love Johnny Jackson, but very, very, very happy for you, Luke. Extremely happy. Morgan, talk to us. I mean, Barnsley 3, York City 2. Our big screen yeah as well for the occasion.
One of the best away days I've been on, despite the fact we lost. It was our biggest. I think we had the biggest away crowd in the FA Cup this weekend. It was, I think, our biggest away game in like 15 years since we took like 5,000 to Bolton when they were in the Premier League in 2011. It was just a massive York City day out. We absolutely loved it. What's annoying is we've now lost, I think, 8 of our last like 11 FA Cup first round games by 1 goal. We lost to Wickham last year 3-2, and there's been a few others. So it's frustrating that you push a team that close and lose. But I don't think I've had limbs like that in an away end when both goals went in. Josh Stone's putting us 1-0 up, and it's the best I've seen him play. I know when we signed him, there were people saying, did we really need him when Pearce was playing as well as he was? And has Matt Ogler signed him just to annoy Oldham fans and all of this? He scored a hat-trick against Woking in about February because Pearce had got himself suspended. But since then, he's not really done anything. He's not been given a chance. He's 20 minutes off the bench and all of this. He was absolutely brilliant. He ran himself into the ground for about 70 minutes. And by the time he was taken off, you could tell he was just done. It was the perfect number 9 performance. He just bullied their defenders and he earned his goal. It was some really nice build-up play. We played it long. He held it up and we played it forward and then cross from Ollie Banks and a phenomenal header from Josh Stones. I thought it hit the bar or been saved and it nestled in and we were 1-0 up for about 7 minutes. And it was just, that away end was so loud. Barnsley fans were spoke incredibly well of us because they were saying League One fans don't travel that well. There was 2,800 of us in that away end, and the camera work on the TV just doesn't do it justice because we're so high up in that stand you can't see it. But it was so loud in that away end, and we just didn't stop. They then scored against the runner play 7 minutes later, bit of a lucky bounce, and they go 1-1. And from half an hour when they scored to the end of the first half, I was so scared they were going to score. We had all the momentum for 25 minutes. Their keeper then faked an injury. They changed their tactics and they went 3-5-2 and we just couldn't deal with it for 15 minutes. And it was just a matter of time. It was like, please just hold on. We got into half time, we reset, then went 2-1 down. Yeah, went 2-1 down. And I actually can't remember that goal at all. It's just kind of been blank from memory. But then in the 87th minute, we get a free kick, and Alex Hunt's known for his free kicks. He sticks it over the wall. Keeper makes a great save. And I don't know if anyone's seen the second save their keeper makes, but Pearce from 4 yards out hits it, and I don't understand how their keeper saved it.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal save, and it just drops, and Kitching smashes it home. And again, it was just insane in that away end. And then we had to have a heartbroken in the 91st minute. We just didn't mark from the corner. It was just, he jumped too easily, headed it in. I was like, there we go. But it was an incredible day out. The fans we loved it and all felt very proud of our club. The players gave 110%. We were absolutely brilliant. Barnsley were spoke incredibly well of us. And it was just one of those days out that you kind of remember for a very, very long time. I hope there's one better this year when we go up. But if that's the one, then that's the one that we remember for this season.
When you go up in the playoffs, you mean?
Oh,
If we do it at Wembley, I don't care. I do not care. As long as, I actually don't care. I was going to say as long as we beat Rochdale. No, I don't care. You can have the title. As long as we do it at Wembley. I don't care. Just get in the football league.
That is fine. Just quickly as well, do you know who Barnsley have got in the draw? I think they have made a draw, haven't they?
Yeah, they got Peterborough. It's really not, like, their fans were not very happy. I went on their Twitter afterwards and they're not exactly happy about it. They get us and we outsang them. They only opened one stand and we were far louder than them. We outplayed them for most of that game. It wasn't a scrappy one. We were the better team for a lot of that game.
Yeah.
They get through it and their fans saying this is a wake-up call for Conor Hurahan. Like, we have to be better than that because, I know it's a non-league team. We are the top scorers in the league, but you've got to turn up. You shouldn't really, when you're 11th in League One, I think they're 11th, you shouldn't be played that close against a team 44 places below. So they were saying it's a wake-up tie, and then they get Peterborough, who are also struggling. So it's an interesting one for Barnsley, but they're not exactly happy with that draw.
Don't blame them, to be fair. Don't blame them. Just really quickly, by the way, I'm sorry if I did miss this, Luke. It has just come up. Just on, obviously, Luke and Wimbledon. He has put surreal and superb win against the top side in League One on their own patch. Cannot believe it's happened, honestly. Got Walsall at home in the next round. Let's have it. Bless him. Bless him. Is there any more on here that anybody does want to give a mention to before we go to the next slide?
I think Callum McIntyre has not been helped out by his trip to Cambridge. I saw he got the dreaded vote of confidence from the board in the week previous. We discussed Chester in the National North. But here they are. Here's their result, 3-0 away from home. And I know they travelled very, very well and were disappointed. So this isn't a disgrace of its own accord, but I think in the grander context of Chester's season, there's an opportunity to put some credit in the bank and they didn't take it.
Just really quickly as well, before we move on, Graham has put something funny in the chat. Has anybody else in the video, because it didn't make me laugh? Shout out to Sammy Bassine, the drunk mascot. He's up there with the Maidstone slider.
He was just having a great time. He was having a great day.
No, the cider was better, Graham. Cider was better. Only because I was only about 10 steps away from it.
Oh, no. I love things like that, honestly. I really, really do. Right.
I think Scunthorpe just deserve a bit of a shout out. Went to Blackpool. I think they took 1,400, which is very good away following. And I saw what some of their fans were saying. They were like, if we play like that, we deserve to be in the Football League. I think they were very similar to us. Just they went to a League One team, fully competing, only lost by a goal. I think they went 1-0 down about the 17th minute, I think it was. Weren't able to get back into it. But it's really good that Forest Green, York, Scunthorpe have all gone away to League One clubs and only lost by a goal. It's we talk about the strength of non-league, and I know Robbie Savage was saying it on the Goal Show, because someone was saying how non-league football, it's very kind of industrious in how teams play. You go very long. It's like, no, teams in our league want to play football. He mentioned us, I think he mentioned Rochdale, and the fact that those three are all competing against League One teams should hopefully start shifting the narrative that non-league football is Sunday league and it's bad pitches and it's ugly tactics. There's some teams in our league that can play really nice football and 100%. Compete with League Two, League One teams.
100%. And while we're on Scunthorpe as well, I just wanted to address, I know in the comments, and I have starred a couple, what did come in earlier, thoughts with absolutely everybody, but especially the Scunthorpe player who did unfortunately get stabbed in that awful incident that has happened. I know Chris has sent his thoughts with him as well. Awful that was. Right, we have got in the chat. We've got Flawless. Hello to Charlotte and the whole panel. Shouts to the chat. Thank you so much for joining. We do really appreciate it. Right, next slide. And if anybody has sent in the match reports, do not worry. I do have them starred. Christine, I'll come back to you. Anyone here you want to give a mention to?
Yeah, I'm going to stay on form, I think. Another side that took advantage of an all non-league game. And what a game it was. Macclesfield. Danny Elliott, someone we know well at Boston and Boreham Wood and Scunthorpe fans will tell you about him as well. He had the first half hat-trick against Totton up in Cheshire, but that was only good enough for 3-3. Scotty Rendell had scored twice for Totton, someone we had on NL Full Time not too long ago. So yeah, really exciting first half. Both teams taking the lead and equalising there. But after half time, Macclesfield got the job done. 4-3 in the first minute of the second half, 5-3 about midway through, and then 6-3 up with 10 minutes left. It wasn't all Danny Elliott. They shared it around in the second half. But yeah, really exciting day for Macclesfield. I'm sure it will be the furthest they've gone since they restarted. And we'll mention it now, and then we can mention it again when we get to the Slough result. But Macclesfield are one of those teams that have got an all non-league game in the next round. So we've got Slough against Macclesfield. Tough one to lose. Really, really exciting opportunity to get through to round 3. And I missed the other one because it was Chelmsford Braintree, but I was looking alphabetically and they were the early kickoff, weren't they? So, yeah, Chelmsford were through. Just reminding myself who they got. That was Western-super-Mare. So that's all National League South. So we've got 2 non-league teams through. Yeah, Macclesfield at their swashbuckling best, really, 6 at home. And they did that a lot in the Northern Premier League last year. And they've produced it on a grander stage.
Sorry about that. I just had to mute myself mid-cough. No, a very, very good win for Macclesfield. Ben, I'll come to you now. Any on here you want to give a mention to?
It's not really in terms of the non-league teams in this page, but I would go with Christian, and I think the 6-3 Macclesfield. I mean, I watched the goals, some of them really cracking goals. Scott Rendell's second goal as well, for someone that's in his late 30s to still be banging him in like that. Fair play. So I love Scott Rendell. We had him as back in the COVID season, and as a striker, I really rated for his work rate. And you always know you've got a chance when he's in your side. That's why you'd rather have him in your side than playing against. And but yeah, it just wasn't enough in the day. I think there's a point for Tottenham because they probably would have seen that as a great opportunity to get into the second round, which they haven't done for a number of years. But yeah, for Macclesfield, it's a statement of intent from them. Obviously, they're trying to put their name back on the map again. Obviously, haven't restarted, but and that result will go a long way for that because that's probably the most entertaining game from Anucha's point of view of the FA Cup, I'm guessing, in round 1.
Definitely. Just wanted to say thank you to Steve as well for popping in. Really appreciate the support. And I accidentally put a comment up. That's why I went, oh, shocked me. I think everyone I was like, oh, can't hide my facial expressions, honestly. I'm so bad for it. Morgan, any on here you want to give a mention to?
I feel like I have to mention the Carlisle game. I know we briefly touched on Regan Linney's hat-trick, but to be 2-1 down going into the 90th minute, he scores twice and then straight away at the start of extra time. That's just, he's got it in him. We all know every time our team plays Carlisle, there's a chance that Regan Linney can just do that. And I saw some Reading fans on Twitter saying, why didn't we go sign Chris Con-Clark? And it's like, well, he's a Carlisle player, but he is on loan from League One. So they've got some League One quality players. It's just, you wouldn't have expected them to do it as late as they did. There was always a chance that they could beat a struggling Reading team who I think just sacked their manager. Carlisle have the quality. Mark Hughes knows what he's doing. So it was always a chance that Carlisle could go down there and win. But to do it in that dramatic fashion, it's one of those days out that Carlisle fans should remember for a long time. I think there was about 500 that went down, obviously very long journey, but it's going to stand out as one of those FA Cup games they remember for a really, really long time of where were you when we did this.
Definitely. This is why I love the FA Cup so much as well, and why it really does make me sad. Like, the magic is being taken away from the teams and the moments for fans like this. And I know, obviously, the Premier League teams haven't come into it yet, or the Championship teams, but you've got cup upsets like that. Like, you've got Carlisle and even Hemel Hempstead. We will come on to them a little bit later, but Hemel Hempstead taking Wigan Athletic, who have won the FA Cup before, 2 penalties, And moments like these are just so magical. And this is why it makes me sad that so many people don't respect the FA Cup anymore. And so many top managers and top teams do not respect the FA Cup, because the moments that we have as lower league fans, this was one competition that every single year from being a little girl, I loved the FA Cup. And I just felt like it was so magical. I don't know if you all feel the exact same, but some of the draws and stuff that we've had before, and some of the moments, and we've been obviously Leeds United before, Hendo with a cheeky chip and things like that. And honestly, these moments are so magical.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's the same with you, Charlotte. Ever since I was a little lad, I love watching the FA Cup. I always remember from one of my first memories was having a Waterlooville, going to Liverpool, taking the lead twice there. And that's the thing, we've seen so many great upsets. I mean, I remember Crawley getting to the 5th round, playing Man United at Old Trafford, which was probably the first time I'd ever seen a club from non-league ever get to the last 16. Like it just, like I say, creates those memories. We've all had those FA Cup memories, even if we haven't won games now. I mean, obviously, Jen could talk about, taking the lead at Tottenham, obviously one for us, obviously being Ipswich. You've had those moments against Leeds, and obviously even Tottenham when you turn to replay at Wembley. Like we've all had those moments in the FA Cup, and and that's the thing. I think again we're asking for more non-league teams to try and get to that 3rd round, and obviously I'm just so pleased that it's not 2 national league sides, it's 2 national south or north sides that's going to be in that 3rd round draw, which is brilliant. We haven't had that for quite some time. I think it's always been national league clubs to get to the 3rd round, so we need more of that, because and also you want to see him drawing against one of the big boys, because it might just bring back that romance of the FA Cup that we all love. Look at Tamworth, what they did last year, playing Tottenham. So it needs more respect in it again, and that's where the media need to make a big influence in that, to bring that magic back to it, because I feel like we've lost it in the last couple of years.
I do think as well, I know we'll mention replays and the feeling that Hemel Hempstead have really missed out, but I think actually Carlisle's an example where the non-league clubs can take advantage of the fact there isn't a replay. They really had the momentum in that game. If they'd have gone up to Brunton Park, Reading can have more of a look at them, etc. You don't just know how it goes. Hemel, they could have had their big home game, but also they could have won the penalties. And this is the thing, I think non-league teams, my instinct, I don't know whether this is true statistically, but my instinct is you've kind of got to do it on the day. I never felt like too many teams won replays as shocks. You had to do it the first time you had the chance. And now, actually, with it all being settled on the day, I do think it puts things in a bit more in the mix. Teams can't, if they put the second string out, they can't take a draw and then send the first team up to Carlisle in Reading's case or whatever. So I think you have to kind of play with the cards you dealt. I was all for replays staying, but they're not going to come back, unfortunately. And I think the non-league teams and Carlisle at this time can take advantage of that.
100%. I just wanted to address in the chat as well, because there is a bit of back and forth between Flawless and Steve. They do actually know each other, by the way, everyone. They do know each other. They probably have a bromance too. They are just acting up. I'm telling you both off now. That is me telling you both off, by the way. I'm joking. Just really quickly on the whole FA Cup, what we were talking about. I agree with you, Sha. I absolutely love the FA Cup. I watched a few of the games last weekend. It was a game on Saturday. We have as well Greenacres. FA Cup is brilliant up to the 3rd round. After that, it's a bit meh. Sometimes, I mean, we've had Plymouth Argyle beat Liverpool last season, didn't we? That was quite a good one, a little bit of a shocker, especially considering Arne Slot didn't really respect it in a way, didn't respect Plymouth, and they got the win. So I do like that sometimes with that, but I do know what you mean. Flawless spot here to see the lovely Charlotte. Oh, thanks. The great panel and a pleasant chat. And your scrub self shows up. No pleasing some people, is there? We do not have a whatever. You're pretending. And yeah, I think teams would take it more seriously if the winner qualified straight. Yeah, imagine in the Champions League if they qualified. Imagine one of the lower league teams. Like someone like Carlisle winning it, Regan Linney there in the Champions League. I mean, wow. Just on Regan Linney as well. I don't know if any of you saw his interview, bless him. And he got a little bit mixed up, didn't he? He's a little bit tongue-tied. He was going on about how it was a fantastic 3 points and win. And bless him, he got really embarrassed, didn't he?
He just went, I've crumbled here, I've crumbled.
I know, bless him. And I was like, oh, and it's just even moments like that when people who are watching the FA Cup, even though it's not at the top stages yet, it is for us, but some of these other people, when they start recognising these players, and don't get me wrong, it's hard for a club when obviously the bigger clubs do start seeing these interesting players and these good players. And we've seen it obviously before we moved to Carlisle, there was a lot of interest in Regan Linney, but it's just so nice for these players to be recognised for what they do week in, week out, because I think sometimes non-league does get forgotten about, doesn't it, when it comes to the FA Cup and the players and the quality of players that are actually involved in non-league now. I think there's really good quality down in our leagues.
Yeah, it's definitely got better over time. And like you said, I think everyone's dreaming, especially in the non-league and maybe from National South downwards, and that the aim for them is their cup final is getting into the first round proper. Because like you say, it's all about, you know, wanting to become a household name of your football club, and even then to become as a neutral. So many teams I've watched over the years, even in just the first, maybe second round, you know, their names that stand out in FA Cup folklore just because they've scored against, you know, a League One team like in the last minute or something like that. It's not always about, you know, like, you know, obviously everyone will associate Lincoln when, you know, Sean Raggett headed in against Burnley to send him into the quarterfinals. But then again, there's like when you get into the earlier rounds, there's so many memories I could pick out and think, oh yeah, I remember that player, you know, scoring again that, you know, big FA Cup tie. That's what it's all about for me. And like I say, it's what makes it bring back. And that's why I love the fact that you know, like BBC and ITV and that have always dedicated to showing games from the first round proper, and because it gives them that limelight that they may never get again. Particularly the clubs maybe they get for the 8th, 9th tier. Look at Malden and Tiptree. So they got their opportunity yesterday as an 8th tier team to play away from home, live on TV, make a few quid out of it. And like I said, they created that moment, you know, that they were there for. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Exactly.
So you always love replays, isn't it, though? Like that, there's that moment, and you can always bring the team back to your ground. If you go away or you get a draw at home, you can go to a big ground. Like had Carlisle been given a replay rather than it going to extra time, they could then have Reading at home, which would be quite a big thing. And I know obviously Carlisle have benefited from it, Hemel haven't. I don't know if the way they could have done replays is just given teams the option, because you know some clubs would have run with the money and said, give us this amount of money. We've seen teams have it where they get a replay and it's funded their club for 2-3 years after that one game's happened, whereas Carlisle have benefited by not having the replay. So
yeah,
it's a massive almost game by game basis. I know last year I think Forest Green got knocked out and would have got the replay, and I think it was Stockport they played would have got the money, and there was I think 5 or 6 others. So I think it's a club by club basis. Some want the replay and the chance of money, and it would be on TV on a Tuesday night. Some just want the chance to go win it there and then against a possible second string team. So I think they should have just given clubs the option and said, you're the lower ranked team, even if it's a League One v League Two team, like so many of the games we can see on screen here. Give the lower ranked team what do you want. You're playing 46 league games. You're in the FA Trophy or the EFL Trophy. You're playing all these games. Do you want a replay? Do you want the money? Or you just want to go win it here and now?
Yeah, I'd agree with that as well, actually, because like the perfect example of that would have been the Tamworth Tottenham game last season, because had Tamworth been able to take that game back to Tottenham, that could have funded their club for the next, like say, 3 or 4 years with just the gate money for a start. And obviously, that's the thing. I dare say Tottenham would have just said, look, we don't need the money, have the gate money, you know, from the game, and obviously all the sales and everything they make from it. And it's the memories. That's the thing. Like, I think, yeah, okay. Like, I think as Chrissy said, I think not many FA Cup replays have caused huge upsets. Well, obviously there have been a few, but maybe not as much as there would be on the day. But it's still just about the day out for the lower league fans, isn't it? To go, you know, on a Tuesday night under the lights. I mean, if that were us, you know, going to Tottenham on a Tuesday night under those lights at, you know, that stadium, I would have been, you know, loving life. That's the thing. Even if we got spanked 7-8-0 on their pitch, like, I mean, it is a hard one. I mean, I would have probably said, like, you know, like sort of touching on what Morgan said. I think give clubs the option. You know, obviously say, look, do we want to settle this in the day or do we want to replay? And I think if one person says we want to replay, then give them the replay, because, you know, at the end of the day, it might benefit their club more in terms of the money situation. And look, League 1 and 2, I mean, that's the thing. It's only been there to benefit those top 6. That's what it's been there for, this whole replay thing, because of extra European football, which isn't the lower league fault. It's looking after, the whole wider football community in English football. It's a massive, this is football heritage, the FA Cup. You've got foreign managers that are coming over here that maybe haven't, didn't watch it as much growing up as a kid. For older fans or even younger fans, the FA Cup is the pinnacle of the season. Like I said, I get excited for the FA Cup all season, and especially when your team does well. But I just feel like there's far too much power, and again, it all goes back to the fact that Premier League clubs or the EFL non-league clubs weren't even considered when replays were taken away, which just shows where our game's at the moment. So something's got to change along the lines. I'd like to be, optimistic and say replays will be back, so in the proper rounds soon, but I can't see that happening at the moment.
On Tamworth though, again, I'm not trying to speak up for the big teams, but just being really boring. They did beat Burton on penalties the round before, so that's where my argument again is. They benefited from the fact they could settle it on the day at Burton, and then I'm not saying this to criticise Tamworth. I just mean generally, and then they get through and they get Spurs and go, well, why can't we have our replay? Well, with the greatest respect, you maybe wouldn't have had the Spurs game if you'd have had to beat Burton in a replay.
Yeah.
So I think there is, with that, I think that example kind of typifies it. They're not coming back, are they? I think, non-league can complain, and they're not going to come back. I think in truth, the Football League teams don't really feel they need the hassle until they get to round 4, round 5, and it's the shoe on the other foot. So yeah, Tamworth, everyone said it at the time, the Spurs thing, and yeah, like I say, they did need penalties to beat Burton the round before.
But it does go back to that point, though, whether, would it been again the same thing as look, if both teams said, look, we want to finish it on the day, or do we want the replay? That's the thing. I think it draws back to the end of the day. I get what you're saying, but I just think that there should be that option for the club to say, look, do we want to have this done on the day, or should we go on a Tuesday night? That's the thing I would look at. I mean, Tamworth probably would have seen it as a good opportunity if they did have to play the replay. They would have had it at home in front of their crowd, and obviously with the long throw they had of Daryl Thompson, they probably could have still caused the upset. I think it's easy to say in hindsight, I know, but it does play both ways. I do get what you're saying, though.
Alternatively, instead of doing that, could you look at it and say the lower league club has to be at home? If we're not having replays, and you'd lose that chance for home advantage, but then you're also then talking about Accrington and Liverpool last year. That's a bigger game because Accrington get to go to Liverpool. So again, that German model of the lower league teams at home doesn't always work either. I think it's hard. It's so case by case. I think you're not going to see replays back. So can you get a bit more creative with another change? I don't know, but it's the same as anything. It's football, isn't it? There's winners and losers. This time, as we say, for every Carlisle, there's a Hemel Hempstead, and next year there'll be a team that misses out, and there'll be a team that gets through in extra time or on penalties. And thankfully, this year, the sum of its parts is we've got 10, 11 non-league teams through now. Tamworth missing out. So, it's hard, isn't it, when it's your own team or it's a team you feel for. But, someone wins and someone loses.
Don't worry, everyone. We've got the National League Cup to substitute it, remember? I mean, a great cup that we've got now.
So we have nothing to do with that.
Again, that's like the one silver lining, isn't it?
It's a silver lining.
It's like, we can't play.
Jen, is there any on here that you want to give a mention to? And you can go first on the next slide as well, because you have been patiently waiting.
I probably would have said Mansfield Harrogate, just because it was a cracker. I think it was ended up 2-2, and then Mansfield scored in the 80th minute for them to win it. But even for Harrogate, that's massive for them away. They probably would have took a load of fans as well. So I think for me, they don't always win, but it's the memories. I still remember Tottenham away when we scored 1-0 and we were up and there was beer flying everywhere. And then you've got Chelsea away where Harry did his incredible save. It's one of them where even if you lose, you've still got the memories no matter what happens. And I think that is, as a lower league fan, the most important thing to take from the FA Cup is the memories you do, whether you win or lose.
Right. Next slide. I'm going to come to you first, Jen. First slide. Any on here you want to give a mention to?
I'm going to go for Wealdstone and Southend. I just think for Sam, I think that's incredible for him to be able to get through to the next round and win in the FA Cup is incredible. So I think for me, it'd probably be Wealdstone, and I do really like Sam and his fashion sense on the sidelines. Got to give it to him. So yeah, I'm happy for Wealdstone. I think they're ones I would have gone for.
I forgot to mention this before as well. Claire will be pleased Harrogate lost. I'm sure she'll have a lot more to say about it on Thursday's show. She's not keen on Harrogate. I don't know if anybody knows, but she made it clear about that last Thursday. She does not like Harrogate for some reason. Morgan, any on here you want to chat about?
Slough beating Altrincham. Obviously, there is that league gap. And Altrincham start to the season just keeps getting worse. Obviously, we speak about their league form every week and how they're struggling. Obviously, Phil Parkinson's now left, and then they lose to a team that I would presume they've not played before, maybe once or twice with the distance and everything. Altrincham would be National League or National League North, and obviously Slough are in the South. So I don't know if they've ever been down to Slough to play them, but it's not exactly what you want when your season's struggling as it is. And I don't know if anyone's seen, but Phil Parkinson put a post on LinkedIn that I've seen floating around Twitter a little bit of everything he did in the 7 years, whatever it was, at Altrincham. And it's when you read through his perspective of it, and he rebuilt that club about 4 times, rebuilt the squad about 4 times. They went professional in his time at the club. He got them promoted into the National League. He did such a good job there. So even though he's gone and they are in a bit of trouble, we kind of know he's going to get another job somewhere. I presume he'll take a bit of time out of football. Obviously, with Altrincham, he's been there for a long time. It's quite intense. So I kind of just want to speak about Altrincham and Phil Parkinson because of the job he did. But obviously, great win for Slough, and I think they won it quite late there. And I saw a video of the away end, the home end when that goal went in, and the fans were going absolutely mental. They loved it. So Slough deserved the win, and Altrincham are in even more trouble now.
I'm just going, before we move on, to read out, bless him. He has been waiting patiently because as we were on the first slide, Steve has sent in his match report. So thank you for waiting so patiently, Steve. He has put Altrincham at home, first half, ran all over them. Should have been 3-0 at least at half time, but happy with the 2 goals we had. Second half went more defensive, but Altrincham lacked any kind of threat. 2 shots all game. Why is it not clicking? There we go. All game, from what I can remember. Disappointing to concede, and their red card is stupid. Off the ball, walking past Winter and elbows him in the face. Needless. I know I saw that.
We're going there on Wednesday night, so I'm not sure if this is good news or not.
Needless, we've lost a second round ties. I'd rather not lose another. It was stupid. I completely agree with that red card. It was just, there was no need whatsoever, but a very, very good win for Slough. 1 second, sorry. Honestly, it's freezing today, my buttons. Ben, any on here you want to mention to?
I would probably have to give the Hemel Hempstead the mention. How they did not win that game is beyond belief. The amount of chances they had, some real goal line clearances as well and everything. And I think it's the first time I've ever seen Paul Mullin miss a penalty. I don't think I've ever seen that.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, crazy.
I mean, you just think their dream's gone and everything like that. You think that's the one man you probably didn't want standing over a penalty if he smashed the crossbar. And look, Lee Allison, we big him up so much in this podcast, but what an effort from their players. I think, and again, this is why I don't understand why this one wasn't picked for the TV game, because you just see something a little in a tie like that. You think there's maybe potential there because they're a good side, Hemel, and after what's been a very good start to the season for them, to go out on penalties to a League One side, like you say, Charlotte, won the FA Cup previously. And it wasn't even that long ago they won the FA Cup. So they can take a huge amount of credit from that. I think they've probably been disappointed on that coach on the way back, thinking, we should have had that game in the bag. I mean, don't get me wrong, Wigan had some chances as well, but there were some real hairy moments for Wigan. And, they can't be doing that. I know they had 10 men for part of it as well, but they can't be playing like that in League One. Otherwise, they're going to really struggle. But, yeah, every credit to Hemel for doing the National League South. Very proud.
Very proud. That was my pick. But as you all know, I have adopted Hemel. And I pronounce my H's still. I'm doing well. Christian, anyone here you want to give a mention to?
I'll very briefly say commiserations to Dickie Wharton, NL full-time colleague, losing down at Sutton, but a good win for them. I think it was important Sutton got a result there and stopped the rot a bit. But no, what I wanted to talk about properly was Brackley Town doing the job on the TV. I think, Ben, you just mentioned you're not sure why Hemel didn't get picked. I think TVs like the lower league teams to be at home, don't they? I know Port Vale, it wasn't the case, but I thought as much as that one looked very, very good, I did think Brackley Notts County, when it came out, had real potential to be that TV tie. With the fireworks going off and everything, and late drama, controversy about the penalty, and there was an offside goal, and Brackley get back into it with the penalty in the 96th minute, and then win in a shootout. The first one from Yatta rattling the crossbar, and it was a fantastic watch. I thought Brackley did very, very well. Great to see St James Park about as full as it can get there. And I can't think off the top of my head who they got in the next round, Brackley. Just having a look. But really good for them. They're home to Burton, so a pretty close one for them.
Yeah.
Home again. Not sure whether they'll get TV 2 rounds in a row, but they've had their moment now, haven't they? Beating a really good kind of solid Football League name in Notts County at home. And they've had a good enough start in the league as well. So, yeah, positive times down at Brackley, and I was pleased for them.
Just going back to the chat, Chris has mentioned Weston didn't have a mare in the FA Cup, beating Aldershot in extra time. Obviously, we've not spoke about it yet, but John Coleman, ex-Accrington and Rochdale, and obviously Gillingham previously, not that long ago, has gone to Aldershot. But yeah, Western Supermare did beat them in extra time. Just really quickly on that, what do we make of the John Coleman appointment? Do you think it's a good move? I'll come to you first, Christian. What's your thoughts on it?
I think I've only briefly discussed it with Rob. Obviously, Aldershot's his baby, really, from the hell full time. But I think just a left field appointment, really. I know the game's moved on from kind of manager's contacts book and having a real geographic area of expertise, but it's not his neck of the woods, is it? I think it's going to be really interesting. I think Aldershot, for a team that only won the FA Trophy in May, I do feel like they need picking up off the ground a little bit. They need a bit of life sticking into them. I think they'll be all right this year. I would just worry if this one doesn't go so well and they need to get someone else in September, October time next year. That's when the rot sets in and you kind of just drift out of the division. But we'll see. It's early days. I don't think that was the biggest surprise against a good Western team away from home. They complete my set of teams that have got non-league opposition in the next round. So an opportunity for them. They went and lost late at Bristol Rovers last year, didn't they? So hopefully they can get to the third round this year and go one better for them. They came from behind, they equalised late, and then they were the team that went on in extra time. So full credit to them. And it's the first time I think anyone said it tonight. It's the cliche of focus on the league, isn't it, now for Aldershot until that trophy comes around?
Yeah, definitely. Does anybody else have any thoughts on a John Coleman appointment at Aldershot?
I thought they'd just go younger. It does seem a little bit like one of those. It feels quite left field, as Christian said, when teams seem to be going for those younger coaches that they want to kind of put in a play style and kind of build a club around a young manager. Is what I kind of expect of Aldershot. So it's a bit weird that they've gone with someone with the experience of John Coleman.
Yeah, I've sort of vouched for that as well, because I think his management style probably would have worked maybe about 20 years ago or so. That's the only thing, because I mean Gillingham probably found that out, that the style of football wasn't the best to watch. And I get it in the National League as well. It is very very physical in that. But as we said earlier, as you said, Morgan, about the style of play, everyone wants to get the ball down and play in the National League. And I just feel like with Aldershot, maybe what they got, probably not the best thing to maybe do. I don't know. It's a gamble in my opinion. look, you can't knock the experience done. Obviously, the job he did at Aki, and in the past where he took that club, from sort of non-league into League One. But I think it's a hard one. I think maybe they should have gone down the younger coach route. But then again, like I say, I'm not an owner. I don't do all the interviews with the managers. Obviously, they see the experience might be enough just to get him out of the position they're in at the moment. Then maybe next season build on from it. I don't know. Who knows?
Jen, sorry, Christian.
So I was just going to briefly say on the start of football. I think I would take my experience with Boston last season and say that it doesn't always have to be about playing the game the one way. We've seen Graham Cochran this year, and when we lost 4-0 to Morecambe, and I didn't get the chance to discuss that one last week, but he was chastising his defenders. He said afterwards on radio that no Graham Cochran team has ever passed the ball between both centre halves and the goalkeeper. I don't think that's the modern way of thinking necessarily, but it's worked for Boston, and it's just interesting to come from Aldershot, a team that have been established in the league for so long. We realised at Boston, if we tried to play teams, just at pretty football, we were going to lose because we were underdogs last year. Aldershot have been in this league a long time, but I think it reflects their league position. They are almost rebuilding, and they do almost have that feel now of one of those, kind of bottom end of the bottom half trying to establish themselves again, which is bizarre to say. Again, they've won the FA Trophy in May, and yet it feels like a club that's at the start of a project.
Yeah. The thing is as well with John Coleman, I think people do associate him with old school football, which he can do, and his teams are very physical and very boisterous. But I've also seen him adapt his Accrington teams, especially when they were in League One. They weren't the physical, boisterous team that they necessarily were in the National League and League Two. Prior to that, I feel like he does have them players who can play football, and he can sometimes go down a road where he does like to play football in the possession based. I think with John Coleman he kind of does it on a game to game basis, and I know he didn't really have much time at Rochdale. And I think at Gillingham as well, it was one where I thought it would either go very, very well or horrifically wrong, and he didn't get the time there either. But to be fair to him, I do think he could do something for Aldershot, and I think he could get them playing like decent football, but also still the physical side of it. Because like I said, everybody does associate John Coleman and Accrington with that dirty style football, which he can do and they are very good at. But he also does know when to switch it as well, which I think he does need to kind of adapt more, especially because we're not in them times now. Previously, football is evolving all the time now. So yeah, I think I do need to give him credit where credit is due, because I have seen some of his sides play very, very good football as well, and that's how he has got them promoted before. Obviously Accrington mostly I will talk about. But Jen, you didn't have your say on it. Do you think it's a good appointment?
It's hard to say at the minute because obviously it's a quick change, it's a quick turnaround for him. But as a lot of people have said, most people would go for a younger manager. I think we might possibly have the youngest manager in the National League at 30 years old. It's one of them where, are you going to go for the younger and experienced, or are you going to go for the older guy that's experienced that is going to get you the results you need as soon as possible? But it's hard to say. I like John Coleman. I think he's a good manager, especially what he did with Aki. I think it's incredible what he did there. And I wish him nothing but the best, but we'll see what happens throughout the season. But I just think at the minute it's too soon to say whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. Just at the end of the day, you just got to give him time to get used to the team, everyone around him, learn what's going on. But again, it is a bit of a difference from being up north. It's quite a big change for him, and I'm not too sure why he would willingly go all the way down there, to be honest.
Maybe it's a really bad weather.
Yeah.
Maybe you stick with it. Maybe you stick with it, because I am.
Yeah.
I'll have a job at Aldershot. I'll stick with it. But I did want to speak about, because he has been waiting so patiently, bless him. So patiently. It wasn't the result, obviously, that he wanted, but Spennymoor Town 0, Barrow 2. And Chris has put Barrow at home, FA Cup. We went toe-to-toe with a League Two club in the FA Cup. Didn't start off very well when Rob Ramshaw went down with a bad injury and had to be subbed off after 7 minutes. Oh, no. What's the injury, Chris? Very good player as well, Rob Ramshaw. And he's also put Barrow scored 1 goal in each half to seal their progress into the next round. Most didn't play bad at all, but it was too much in the end. Back to the league on Tuesday, away to Curzon. Oh, it's so annoying, though, when one of your players get injured, especially a bad injury, especially someone like Rob Ramshaw, because he's a very, very good player and vital to them. But yeah, I hope he's okay. And never mind, Chris is always. I'm thinking of Spennymoor still in the FA Trophy.
I think there will be, yeah.
Yeah, won't there?
No, I've got 2 weeks' time. I think it's when the National North and the South Cup come in.
Yeah, that's when they come in. So do not worry. We might meet again, and you might beat us again, Chris. You can always concentrate on the FA Trophy. But yeah, oh no. Seems he went down on his ankle after going for the ball.
Oh dear.
Not good. Another one, obviously, if he didn't get the win, but South Shields won, Shrewsbury Town 3. That was another of the non-league teams. And then we'll just go through this one. So Eastleigh 0, Walsall 3. I didn't actually manage to catch any of this game. Did anybody see it?
Yeah, I watched it, and it wasn't a good performance from either team. It was the first goal was awful. It was a cross that came in, just wasn't dealt with, and just bounced in. First half, neither keeper played well, and it could have been about 2-2 by half time. Walsall showed their quality, but it wasn't a particularly good game between Eastleigh and Walsall. But Walsall made it through, and Luke will be very happy about that because it's Gateshead, and he don't have to go all the way down to Eastleigh in the next round.
True, definitely. The next one, obviously, Port Vale 5, Malden and Tiptree 1. I mean, they've made such a great account for themselves, haven't they?
Yeah, just a goal in the first few minutes, and it was, are we going to see the upset? And then Port Vale turned it on. What was it, 4-1 after 25 minutes? It was they poked the bear, really. It was like they woke up and Vale then said, all right, we'll win this comfortably, and they scored the 5th. But it was quite. They had their moment. We've spoken so much about moments in the FA Cup. Malden Tiptree, they went up to Port Vale, one of the biggest clubs in the Football League, one of the oldest clubs as well. They've had their moment. They've gone there and they've seen one of their players score at Port Vale.
Anybody got anything else to add on that one?
Well, I think the Port Vale fans are probably delighted because obviously the Malden Tiptree chairman's been very vocal about trying to rattle a few of their fans, and I think he's done a good job with that, to be honest. But no, look, Malden Tiptree, their priority, because I do follow from football from down, obviously a couple of levels below. Their aims to get out of the Ishmael North, and with the squad they've got. They've got a very good budget. It's quite clear because they've got players that played National South only last season, so. That'll be their ultimate aim to get promotion. The cup's been a bonus for them, but I think a lot of non-league clubs, particularly if you play at that level, you're going away from home to a League One side. If you can get a goal, even if you're 6-0 down, just for the fans. But the fact they had their moment to take the lead there, what an occasion it would have been for. I think it was 400 that travelled there from Essex. So really impressive, but no shame in losing 5-1 to Port Vale. But that's the thing. I think it showed the quality showed in the end quite clearly.
And last but not least, obviously, Gainsborough 1, Accrington Stanley 2, but they did have to get the win in added extra time. Did anyone catch this game?
No.
Yeah, my neck of the woods, really, Gainsborough. I think there's 2 exciting teams in Lincolnshire at Step 3 this year. One of them's Gainsborough in the Northern Premier League, and then the other one's Spalding in the Southern Central. I think both could be National League North next season. Really exciting times at Gainsborough. They had the cup run last year and it was all away. So I was delighted for them. They got the home game. They filled the North Dome, 3 sides of it anyway. They went behind earlier, goal they were disappointed with. But Cesar Tuntawana, that equalised, he's played in every position for them this year. He's been up front. He's a defender, really, usually a right back. And they signed him from Step 5 a couple of years ago. He came from Boston Town, the second team in Boston. At Step 5, he's come up to Gainsborough and he's done ever so well. And great to see him on the score sheet. A very similar goal in extra time to the one they conceded in the first half. But yeah, really positive day for Gainsborough. And yeah, one to watch, Gainsborough and Spalding from the Lincolnshire side of things, both doing really good stuff. Gainsborough with the proceeds of 2 cup runs now, Spalding a little bit more of that kind of club with money and a big backer. But thankfully for us in Lincolnshire, they're in different leagues at step 3, so they can both achieve something this year. And yeah, I was really, really glad to see for Gainsborough. They're a club that just needed to turn the corner, and the cup's done that for them 2 years in a row now.
And of course, last but not least, the game tonight. I don't think many of us maybe have seen much of it, seeing as though we have been on the pod, but Leyton Orient did beat Tamworth 1-0. So Leyton Orient are through, obviously, to the next round.
Well, I was at.
Go on, sorry, Christian.
I was just going to say, I was at Tamworth last weekend. Boston played there. I was commentating down at the Lam. And I don't think they'll be too disappointed tonight, but just a few stirrings there. That home form's just fallen away. They're not winning many at home. We won 3-1 there with Boston on Saturday. They've obviously lost without scoring tonight. And I don't think tonight is anything like a crisis, but I just think there's a crowd there that are very used to winning every week. You know, they've won a lot back-to-back promotions. They won a lot at home last year, having a late dart towards the top half. And I think just Tamworth fans, just take stock of where you are. You know, not wanting to be, to be dismissive of things. I think, mid-table, top of the bottom half in the National League is a real achievement for Tamworth. So enjoy it while it goes. And if some of your results come away from home and not on the Lam this year, I think you've just got to take that one on the chin. But tough place to go. Leyton Orient will be pleased with their work. Monday night's a nasty one there as well, isn't it? And they go to Salford in the next round.
I don't know if anybody saw this as well. Graham in the chat. I was going to mention this, but thank you for reminding me. We did make an error with the attendance. So shout out to the nearby 4 million people who watched AFC Portchester take on Metropolitan Police at the weekend. I don't know if anybody else saw the error, but I had to keep looking. I was just there, and then it clicked. I was like, oh. But it did take me a while. For that one. But yes, that is the end of the show tonight. Thank you so much for everybody in the chat for joining us. We do really appreciate it. As always, it is in collaboration with the brilliant NL Fulltime. Thank you so much, Christian, for coming on and representing NL Fulltime. Where can everybody find the podcast and also your brilliant work too?
Well, thanks for having me. Pleased to kind of be the representative again. There's 4 of us that are regulars on NL Fulltime. So it's myself, Rob Worrell, who's Aldershot based, Dickie Wharton from Telford, and Joe Pope, Torquay. Joe hosted the pod again this week, which was a really good listen. I wasn't on it, so I can say it was a really good listen. That one's on Spotify and all the usual places. You can find me. So actually tomorrow I've got something really exciting. So the local radio have asked me to get involved in their Children in Need campaign. So if you're in Boston tomorrow and you want to see us walking 3-legged through Boston, please do come and get involved or donate. No obligation, but please do donate, else it'll all be in vain, the walk through Boston in the rain tomorrow. Wednesday night I'm off on commentary duty at Altrincham. Looking forward to that on Radio Lincolnshire. And then Shah, your Rochdale are visiting us on Saturday. So I'll be on the tannoy for that. But Twitter at Boston United Stats, and busy week. And it's of course our Remembrance game on Saturday, all the Remembrance fixtures over the weekend. So any fellow announcers out there will know that's always a bit of a nervous day. So one kind of to look on with a bit of nerves, but it'll be fine.
I'm just glad we might actually get a game on Saturday then if we're away against you guys.
Well, we're the flattest place in the country. You'll be fine. That water will just go. It'll be fine.
I love it. Ben, thank you so much for joining. It's been a pleasure as always. Where can everybody find you?
Well, not on Twitter at the moment because I can't be bothered to look at the Tunbridge reactions still. But it is Ben Stones FC1 if you want to follow. Read my terrible tweets. You do whatever you want.
Morgan, thank you as well so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure as always. Where can everybody find you? And I know you do some really exciting stuff as well now, don't you, on the commentary?
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter at _Morgan_Bruce. You can find my weekly or bi-weekly match previews for the York City games in York Press, and occasionally doing DAZN and York Hotspot Radio commentary for York home games.
Jen, thank you as well so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure. Where can everybody find yourself and your amazing work too?
So it's Jen Hunt _ on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all them places. I also do have a podcast with Bex on the lower league for the F1. It's probably going to be an end of the season now, just because it's getting a little bit stressful with my friends. I don't think they can do it on a Sunday. But we should be back for an end of season review in December. So looking forward to doing that.
Love that. And if anybody does want to follow me, I am SharXREFC. That is on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Her Game 2 stuff is Rochdale HGT. You can also listen to The Dale Way, which is all things Rochdale with myself, Leanne and Isabel. That is on Spotify and YouTube under The Dale Way. And I'm going to try and do this, but my northern accent might butcher it. Obviously, because it was supposed to be Rochdale versus Scunthorpe, I'm still hoping, fingers crossed, it will. But I'll address the elephant in the room again. Pitch inspection. Shock horror. We have a pitch inspection when it rained. But I was on the Iron Power podcast. Scunthorpe podcast is a very, very brilliant podcast as well. So please check that out. And I was talking all things Rochdale and Scunthorpe. We're having a little chat about standout players, previewing the game as well. So that is on Twitter. It is on Spotify. So please go and support that. It'd be much appreciated, because the guys over there, they do some very, very brilliant content. And of course, we are the Absolute Football Podcast. On Twitter, we are Absolute Ball Pod. YouTube and Twitch, we are Absolute Football Podcast. TikTok, we are Absolute Football Pod. Instagram, we are Absolute Football Podcast _ Blue Sky, Absolute Football. And on Facebook, we are the Absolute Football Podcast. And we have 4 live shows a week. As we've mentioned, because we are here on a Monday, we are absolutely non-league football in collaboration with NL Full-Time. And we do cover National League North, National League South. On a Tuesday, Sam and the amazing Absolutely Premier League team, they are back. They talk all things Premier League. And I do apologise if the game does get called off tomorrow, our game, I will be on the Premier League show. You might get a hat trick of me, so I do apologise to everybody. I bet you're all hoping the Dale game's on now, so you don't have to see me again. But I just wanted to do the spoiler alert so you can plan something different if you don't want to see my face again. And of course, on a Wednesday, it is the amazing Freya, Paul, and Team Chaos for everything absolutely women's football. They cover WSL and WSL2. And we are back. We are back on Thursday, absolutely lower league with the Rowdy Rabble. We will be talking about the EFL teams in the FA Cup. And of course, I think there is actually some midweek games tomorrow. Let me have a check. I'm pretty sure it's Championship. Bear with me. Don't want to lie to you all. Yes, we have Championship and some League One games as well as the EFL trophy. So I am sure we will be covering all of that. But if you don't already, it would be a pleasure if you could subscribe to our channel. Also, NL Full-Time on all of the socials too. They have some amazing content that Christian did mention. And if you do want to pass the time, we do have some brilliant shows that you can watch. We have interviews. We have club interviews. We also have our brilliant Women in Football series, which myself, Jen, and Ben have featured on. There's been some amazing guests, and that's in partnership with Her Game too. And if you do want to become a member, you can become a member. You do have some special perks, emojis, and meet the team episodes. This week, if you are a member, you can get to meet the brilliant Ant on his episode. He talks everything from Sunderland, the journey, and of course, being part of the Absolute Football Podcast. But as always, thank you so much for tuning in, for commenting. We do really appreciate it. Hope you all have a lovely week, and bye for now.